SunPatiens are back. In fact, I'll give you a backstory on these. These are brand new today. Not only did Philip find these, source these, but he named them. And if you want to upgrade to Easy Pay, we've got our Q card out there, and you can get them on 3 Easy Pay payments today. So first of all, stunning color.
It's absolutely my favorite. I love the SunPatiens, and this by far is the most beautiful one I have ever seen.
Okay, Philip, correct me if I'm wrong, and you're welcome to correct me all hour because I know I get wrong. Have we ever done 8? This feels like a big collection.
It's the biggest collection of the pink lightning we've ever offered. And again, it is my absolute favorite. It's spectacular.
Okay, so let's talk SunPatiens because this is something that you've brought out to us, and impatiens are not always team players. So let's talk about what makes these different and how we plant them and things like that.
Well, Albany, these will grow in full hot baking sun, even if you live in Dallas.
How about Vegas?
Orlando, Vegas, any of these places where typically you couldn't even grow impatiens there. These are for full sun or to half shade, and they get big. They don't have any disease problems whatsoever. But the unique thing about the pink lightning is the leaves. Look at the foliage.
I
gorgeous.
Love that.
And I call this the lightning struck foliage because the leaves have this bright yellow stripe down the center of it.
Sure.
And the plants themselves are incredibly dense. The blooms are enormous, and they're this bright hot pink. Just a great look. I had these in my garden last year, and people said, "What is that?" Because they're just incredibly gorgeous.
Stunning. They really are. And you know, the character, the explosion of color. I want you to see some of these photos, and we'll talk about how they're shipped.
Yes.
And really what we can expect over the growth season.
Right. Well, you can see how they're shipped right there, but I'll show you one in a moment. But up close, these are just incredibly beautiful. If you just have green leaves, the blooms don't show off quite as well. But that bright yellow background absolutely pops. They're great in containers or in the ground, and I did them in both ways at my house. Look how great they look in these slate-colored containers. Just a fabulous look, and if you want to know what the front of my house looks like, that's it.
Really?
And that's pink lightning leading up to my beautiful door that I coordinated with it. But that's only 4 plants right there. 1 plant per container going up there. It's just a fabulous thing. If you follow your instructions, you get a growing guide, by the way, with these. Yours should get as big as what I'm showing you here. The brighter the sun, the more the yellow is going to be pronounced in the leaves.
Okay, so how fast do these grow and how big do they get?
Well, yours should get, this season, they should get 24 to 30 inches tall and 24 to 30 inches wide. It's just a really, really great look in the garden. And I'll show you a little gradient, which is kind of amazing. And you can plant them in all kind of containers. You can be as fancy as your imagination will let you.
I can be fancy.
I suspected as much. This is the way that they ship out to you. You're going to get 8 of these. Now you plant these in the ground, full sun to part shade in a container or in the ground, watered in really well, and after 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh my word, that's sizable for 6 to 8 weeks.
After 6 to 8 weeks. And of course, you'll have a growing guide that tells you all you ever wanted to know about the SunPatiens. But also, I wanted to show you how dense this is because regular impatiens are not sturdy like this. These are absolutely sturdy.
It's so funny that you're saying that. Can we flip it around? I want you to see this root system. I mean, look how beautiful even that is with that dark corally red color, but how thick they are.
It's dense.
It is so dense.
If you get a big storm, which would knock down a lot of impatiens, this is not going to knock down because they're dense all the way down. And again, this collection, what we're looking at, Albany, what you see is what you get, and this is what yours does this season. This is the big kahuna of the SunPatiens.
You start talking about curb appeal with instant gratification. In 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to get this one.
Correct.
And then by the end of the season, you've got humongous, beautiful, show-stopping plants. Now, what's my bloom time on this?
Well, they'll start blooming as soon as you get them in the ground or in a pot.
Okay.
And then also these bloom, this was the big thing on Facebook. The people that bought them last year and the year before last, they said they bloomed well into the fall when everything else was tired looking. These were still looking beautiful, but I got the big laugh because people would drive up to the back, the driveway comes around to the back, and they would see these, and because they were so big, they said, how in the world you get your azaleas to bloom in August?
Oh my word.
Because that's what kind of big they are, and this by far is the best looking one of all of them, the biggest pink lightning collection we've ever had, and it's the most talked about of any of the SunPatiens.
Oh my word. Well, this is a collection that we have for you today, and we were so excited because Philip truly is so well known for his design and as an author, and really I just get tickled listening to his travel schedule, going back and forth between clients and doing enormous gardens, show places, state homes, and he hand selected these. You named them.
I saw them and I just had a fit. In fact, Doug laughed at me because I saw it and I ran like a child who spotted the big prize and wants to grab it for himself, because that was me. But the fact that these worked in the hot baking sun was a big deal for me. I just got home from Miami yesterday. They have these planted down in Miami.
Oh, wow.
They were also all over Palm Beach. Not this variety, because you just don't get this. They had the regular ones with the green leaves. But this is spectacular. They grow in the heat. They also grow in the cool areas. And again, all the way into the fall in containers or in the ground. It's show-stopping color, and nothing is going to give you this much color for this little bit of money.
Well, when you think about that too, I mean, that's the big one. That's only 4 right there going up those steps, and you're getting 8. We haven't done a collection so big. And by the way, if you are shopping with your Q card tonight, and I highly recommend that because we've got beautiful different heights and textures and varieties to build a gorgeous garden. Your Q card means that they're only going to be about $13.24 per payment, and these are the only quantities of the season.
Yes.
So once they're gone, they are gone. But I'll tell you what, when you start to talk about the price per acre, or the price per yard or foot, or whatever you want to call it, this is giving you a lot of coverage, but also a nice medium height.
It was the perfect height. In fact, if you've lost some shrubs over the course of the winter, this is a good way to temporarily fill in those gaps if you don't want to spend the money on replacing them with shrubbery. It's just a really handsome look to have in your garden.
Sure.
I wouldn't be without them, and first-time gardeners were buying these, and they said, you know, it really made me feel successful because they were so easy. You keep them watered, and also pick up our bud and flower booster, our general one, our fertilizer, customer top rated, and I fertilize mine every 2 to 3 weeks with that. And it's just a great look. Containers like I'm showing you right here. If you've got a small patio garden or a deck area, this is a great way to really make it look like something. This is not going to look like your garden came from the box store. It
isn't, but I have to tell you, I love that they're so successful whether they're in the ground or in a container. So many times you hear people say, well, you know, I'm in a temporary place, or I'm in a rental, or I'm on a balcony from my condo.
Right.
This would be great, especially when you think that they love that hot, bright sun.
They absolutely do. Just keep the water to them and put a saucer underneath it, which will help you a great deal. And it's a great look. My mom had these last year because I had them on air, and she's watching the show, and she said, he found those. She turned to her buddy and said, he found those. So she had to order them just because I had found them. But again, in my own garden, they were great. I had them in containers, and then just in front of those, I had them in the beds, which gave me a nice tiered look.
Sure.
You can also line the sidewalk.
You know, if you've ever said, I sure wish I could have a professional landscape architect come to my house. I sure wish I could have someone that designs those estates in the Northeast Corridor. This is the man. He's authored a book. You can pick that up today if you're interested. Let your order operator know. But these are the plants he chose to line his own front walk, and I think that's a pretty important thing.
And I did them in containers because I've got silver maples in the front yard, and the roots are really close to the surface, so it was really difficult to dig holes. I put them in big containers and set them on the edge, on the steps, but also down the edge of the sidewalk. I had them as well. If you don't feel like digging a hole, just get a big pot and put them in a pot. A 22-inch diameter pot is fantastic for them.
22-inch diameter. Okay, here's what I'll tell you. 1,000 are gone. These are the only quantities of the season, and we've never done an 8-piece collection.
This is
and on top of that, this is something you're only going to find at QVC. Philip found these, and do you call it patented or trademarked when it's an exclusive like that?
Well, let's just say you can't get it anywhere else.
You can't get it anywhere else.
How about that?
Look at the explosion of color with that yellow and the green and the hot pink. It really is so pretty.
In Albany, I will break stems off and use them in flower arrangements, because that's the thing you need is a good foliage in your flower arrangements. These are great for flower arrangements.
I love it. Well, you will get this size, this this season. So if you're ready for big showy plants and to feel successful with your gardening, great way to start with the SunPatiens. So